Hi, Stan here again. We're taking a closer look at Chapter 11 of Stane Street. In this, the last chapter, we cover the last few miles to where the first London Bridge was built 2,000 years ago, at the end of this Roman road. This started at Chichester, 58 miles to the southwest. The road may be long gone, but there's still lots of history. Come along and explore with me. Following along on the A24, we come to historic Clapham Common. It was a common land until 1878, when it became a park. In the 19th century, wealthy Londoners built mansions around the 220-acre green space in order to get out of the city. By the end of the century, the village and the park had been swallowed up by London expansion. Besides the many playing fields for a variety of sports, the park contains an historic bandstand. The Grade II listed building was almost lost due to neglect. London's largest bandstand was built in 1880. After 30 years of neglect, the bandstand was restored in 2006 with funds from the Historic Lottery Fund and local funding, totaling over £1 million. The facility in the center of the park attracts summer concerts with music from swing bands, jazz groups, brass bands, and more. After passing Clapham Common, the A24 becomes the A3, Clapham Road, and heads through England's largest Portuguese-speaking area, known as Little Portugal, and on to Kennington Park, originally known as Kennington Common. This park was the site of public hangings until 1800. Cricket matches were recorded here as early as 1724. It was also famous for its history of large public gatherings, for everything from public orators to protest marches to musical festivals. In 1967, the Lambeth Archaeological Society seems to have found evidence of Stane Street while they were digging up an old playing field. Carrying right along, the road name changes to Newington Butts, deriving its name from the medieval village and the ancient butts used for archery practice. The 16th century theatre there was known for putting on some of the earliest Shakespearean plays, predating even the Curtain Theatre. Newington Butts is also the birthplace of Michael Faraday, the Victorian scientist who is best known for his work on electromagnetism. His memorial, a Grade II listed building, was built in 1961 in the middle of the Elephant and Castle Square. Fittingly, it contains an electric substation. Stane Street would have run very close to this. The area got its name from the Elephant Lodge mentioned in Shakespeare's Twelfth Night. After circling the memorial, the A3 again lines up with our Roman road as it passes through Borough, which was the first London borough. Here we find Tabard Inn, which was the medieval assembly point for pilgrims headed for Canterbury Cathedral. This was where Chaucer's Canterbury Tales started, and another literary connection is the St. George the Martyr Church, which is mentioned in Charles Dickens' Little Dorrit. We finally made it, folks, to the end of the road at the River Thames. The Roman bridge was just east of the current London Bridge. There have been many London bridges, starting with the Roman one, which was a pontoon bridge. It was built to connect the northern part of the Roman colony. Its existence attracted a small town of traders on the north side of the river and was named Londinium. This soon became the Roman administrative center, and roads were built out in all directions. After the Romans left, the town and bridge fell into disrepair. The river was the boundary between the Saxon kingdoms of Wessex and Mercia. A few wooden bridges were built and destroyed, depending upon the political climate. The first stone one, opened in 1209, took 33 years to build. It was between 800 and 900 feet long, supported on 19 arches sitting on the riverbed. For 350 years, the severed heads of traitors and criminals were displayed on spikes at the south gate, William Wallace, Braveheart, being one of the first. By the 1350s, congestion grew to the point where it would take an hour to cross. At this time, there was over 100 shops and houses built on the bridge. They had a tendency to burn once in a while, which further delayed traffic. They were demolished by an act of Parliament in 1760. Finally, the 600-year-old bridge was replaced by the Victorian version in 1831. It had 5 stone arches and could carry 8,000 pedestrians and 900 vehicles per hour. It was later widened from 30 feet to 43 feet to handle even more traffic. In 1968, the bridge was sold to an American for $2.4 million, dismantled and reassembled at Lake Havasu in Arizona. He may have thought he was getting Tower Bridge, which is far more impressive. The current London Bridge, built of concrete and steel with only 3 spans, was opened in 1973 by Queen Elizabeth. That's where we are today, from a 2,000-year-old wooden pontoon bridge linking the British Roman Empire through a small town to a concrete bridge with lanes for cars, buses, bicycles, and pedestrians in the middle of a massive city. Stane Street has gone through many iterations. In the 1700s, travelers going to and from the south coast could take the luxury stagecoach, the latest in transportation. Coaches ran to Arundel, Borough, and Chichester. Their route covered much of what was Stane Street. By the end of the 19th century, trains had replaced most of the stagecoach routes, and Stane Street was no longer needed. In the last 100 years, the automobile replaced much of the train traffic, and the old Roman road is now once again being used. So ends our journey on the 58-mile road from Chichester to London. Many different feet have walked or ridden this route and left a lot of history. I hope this book has put a little life into the scenery and given you appreciation of the people and places that passed before. If you get a chance, try exploring Stane Street for yourself. If you enjoyed the ride, please press like and leave a comment. Let your friends know so they can explore the road too. Our next series is about the Sussex Coast Road, the A259, which runs all the way from Rye to Chichester. Come and explore with us. Look at the villages and the cities along the way. Check in their history and find out more. Press subscribe and we'll let you know when it's coming out. That's it for now. Thank you for joining us for this ending chapter of the Stane Street. I hope you've enjoyed it. Please pass it along to your friends if you did. Let me know in the comments below if you have anything to say. This is Stan taking a closer look. Bye for now. See you next time.